I'm speaking with a friend, a person who's very creative. We've met a few years ago, not in person, just like this, but I've constantly watched Vera VanGuard progress like totally. And this movie, Apocalypse Love, we'll get down to shortly, and some other things. But welcome and hello again, Vera.
Hello, it's so good to be back. It's been 5 years since we last spoke about my last weird project, and so happy to be talking about my new weird project.
That's crazy. Honestly, that was 5 years ago because we've stayed in contact. It doesn't seem that long.
Yeah, it's been a very quick moving and yet very slow 5 years.
Well, obviously we all went through a pandemic, but you've
Yes.
come out the other side. How did you stay creative during the pandemic? Were you working on the movie Apocalypse Love, or was there something else?
Yes, this was definitely something that started in the pandemic. I was like, well, how do I make a movie with no people involved? And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm one of the top puppeteers in the world. So that's when I was like, oh, I have this idea. I can write the script. So it took 2 years to bring Apocalypse Love to life, and it started in quarantine. And I'm like, how do I make something without people in it and puppets? That's the answer.
The puppets, which are all behind you, we'll get to shortly. But again,
Yep.
another question on the pandemic. You're in LA. What was it like? Were the streets empty? Was it like an apocalyptic movie or something?
It really was. Now I live literally 2 blocks from the Chinese theater where they do the Oscars and all that, and
Yeah,
the stars and all that. Like I walk by that. That's like my normal where I live, and
yeah.
it really was the apocalypse. There was no one. It was so weird and so bizarre to like, and like LA was having their political problems, so all of the storefronts were also shut, like with like someone nailed, like
Oh,
everything is
really?
closed, all the windows are like nailed with wood, and
Hmm.
just every like just total apocalypse. Like the only time anyone went out was to like maybe get food, and
Sure.
all the store shelves were like picked clean. It was insane. It was absolutely an insane time to be alive.
Yeah, it was a little bit like that in Australia, but I think
Yeah.
we were less. I wouldn't say less worried, but there was more people laid back about it here than they probably should have been. But the stores and everything were the same. The shelves were empty. Nobody was allowed out. You had like a curfew and everything. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, we did too. Yeah, curfews. I think I felt like we got to get out. I went out to like walk outside for like 1 hour every day. That was like my
Yeah,
yard, my little exercise, and then you just, what do? You're sitting at home losing your mind the rest of the time.
yeah. Well, I was lucky enough I could still work from home mostly, which was really good,
Mhm.
and that helped me just survive. Plus, go to the beach, like you said, go outside for an hour. But making movies, you honestly kept going with it, and I'm glad you did because Apocalypse Love is one of those unique things that I hope more people just discover and talk about. I know a lot of people already have, but it's just building momentum, I think, still.
Yeah, I think if I could get broader, like I think Hollywood is creatively bankrupt these days, and
Mm,
I
mm.
think, and I'm hoping that they'll start looking to the smaller filmmaker who can be fast on their feet and still has like very creative fresh ideas, something that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Like movies now have to make like almost $1 billion to make a profit.
Yeah,
That's insane. They should be looking for to like the indie filmmakers that are like, hey, we can make great stuff with fresh ideas and fresh properties, and we're not going to cost you an arm and a leg. We're going to cost you a little bit less than half an arm, but we
yeah.
can
Ah,
turn a profit.
yeah. Yeah, no, that's ironic you say that, especially since we've had the strike, the Hollywood strike.
Mm-hmm,
Oh,
mm-hmm.
that's something else I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
Did that affect your cosplay? Was it under the same blanket, or was it what did it restrict
Um,
you from?
It restricted us from making appearances. There were no like red carpets, no
Yeah.
nothing. But luckily, I'm not really an actor. I just act when people ask me to. I don't like pursue it. But it
Yeah.
did affect me as a puppeteer because we fall under the union rules as because to remind people, I'm a professional puppeteer. This is what I do for a living. You see my hands in hundreds of commercials for like toy Barbie, like the hands on the close-ups that turn the doll's head or
Yes.
slam the Hot Wheels car to go. Usually it's my hands. So you've seen these hands very many times, and that's what I do for a living. So it did affect commercials. It did affect shooting. It's been a wild and crazy year for everyone everywhere.
All right, so now to the fun stuff. Apocalypse
Yes.
Love. It all began,
Yes.
I assume, with an idea, but the dolls front and center. There was a doll maker
Yes.
overseas, right? Was it Slovenia? I think I remember hearing.
Slovenia.
Oh.
Yeah, I had this script idea that I took a year to rewrite and actually get like the idea together, and
Yeah.
I think it's such a cute and adorable idea, and so weird because it has most of my friends, and the way I am is like, despite all this pink stuff, I'm very goth and emo and rock and roll. There's so much to talk about, and I wanted to do this. This puppet movie is very like gothic and emo, and the soundtrack is so like techno rock and roll. It's such a cool little movie. I really want everybody to see it. Yeah, so it's all like little gothy kids running around doing gothy stereotypical things like writing bad poetry in cemeteries and digging up their ex-dead girlfriends, little things.
Yeah, just a little necrophilia romance. That's nothing wrong with that.
Neck romance.
That's right. It's a new word.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw a movie.
And it's okay if it's done with dolls, right?
Exactly. I was about to say, I saw this movie starring Molly Parker maybe 15 years ago called Kissed, where she worked in a morgue and well, slept kind of with some of the bodies, and it threw me then. But this is sort of more of a lighthearted and nothing like that. But that's the only thing I can think of that's sort of along those lines, and that was also a romance, but not with puppets. How did you come up with the names? I mean, do you want to introduce a few of your friends?
Oh, yes. We have the movie stars Tom. And by the way, this is the first kind of its movie that you see the hands puppeteering. It's called play motion, and no one's ever done a feature film. So when they move around, you see the hands like moving them around, and they come to life like this. And this is the star. This is Tom. He's our little emo. Like, I love the little details. He has a little side chain on his pocket.
Oh, so good. I know.
My Fleming puppet maker was amazing. So he's the star, and he's this little emo rock and roll boy. And the story goes, his girlfriend died a year ago, and now he's like just hanging out in cemeteries writing bad poetry. Like, oh. And then the aliens come down and turn all the dead into zombies. That's the whole story. Aliens come down, turn all our dead into zombies, and our little emo friends hang out in the cemetery. So he's at the wrong place at the wrong time, and he's like, well, before they turn my dead love into a zombie, I'll dig her up. So he does. And then as he goes through his adventure, he winds up hanging out with his ex-girlfriend, who's still alive, and she shoots machine guns. That's because all puppets shoot machine guns, and she's his ex-girlfriend who's still in love with him. I mean, it's a necromantic like what would that be called?
Love triangle.
The dead ex-girlfriend, the living ex-girlfriend, and by the way, the dead ex-girlfriend is her ex-best friend. She Yoko Ono. They were in a band together. She Yoko Ono them. I mean, it's pretty. It's an involved story. Like, don't let the little silly puppets fool you.
No, exactly.
And there's aliens.
Yeah, and well, And probably about 10 other things. There's Easter eggs, there's
Yes.
music. The music was magnificent. I want to get to the soundtrack shortly, but I want to ask you
Yes.
this, and I'm guessing I know the answer already though. Was there any idea to ever digitally remove the hands at all?
No, I from the beginning wanted people to see what play
Yeah,
motion puppeteering looks like. And
yeah,
I wanted to stand out from the crowd because like you know, if it's a puppet movie, you know there's a puppeteer somewhere to be found. And I'm like, well, the hands actually move so funny with the puppets. You kind of forget that they're there after like 5 minutes. You just accept it and you're with the story and you're just following his little adventures with his dead girlfriend in a body bag. Let's
it's
get them more creepy. They look
uh,
creepier when they stare at you.
well, they got those dead eyes, but that's great. I
Yeah,
think that's part of it. And it's a beautiful love story in a
thank
way.
you.
Like it's a beautiful love
Yeah,
story. You've written something with chemistry and different, but it all comes together as most romantic films do.
yeah. I wanted to have a movie with a really satisfying end. Like, I wanted everybody to walk away like, that was fun. Like, yes, yes.
Yeah. What sort of reactions did you get when you were showing it at, cinemas and to crowds that they knew what they were going to expect, right? There was no one that really went into it knowing it wasn't a puppet movie. But what were the
They
reactions
knew it
like?
was a puppet movie, but they had no idea what they were about to see. And
Yeah.
my favorite thing is I watch the people in the audience because, like, I've seen my movie, but I want to watch the people, and so many people just watch it like this. Like I love seeing like men, women, kids have seen this movie, and they just want all the toys. And I hope to merchandise this.
Yeah. Um, Great. It's something that it's another string to your like another string to your bow because merchandising and making a movie together, I mean, there's usually different people doing both things. So you've done it all and written it, directed it. You wore a
Yeah.
lot of hats. That's great.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to make something very unique and adorable that it's kind of hard for people to like pick apart because it's just like, but
Yeah.
it's so cute. What it's just so cute.
Well, there's Tom so dedicated, but there's also the Doom prepper. Um,
Yes. Oh, he's missing. He's still on up on the shelf. He didn't want to come down. But
yeah,
there's
he was one of my favorite characters in the movie. It was great watching him.
really.
Yeah,
Oh,
fun.
thank you.
How do you
I'll let the
direct?
actor know.
Oh,
Hmm?
good. How do you direct puppets? I mean, do they have a life of their own? Did they tell you what they wanted to do, or did they negotiate scenes with you? What was it like directing puppets?
It's very easy because I puppeteered in the movie Tom and I puppeteered the lead alien. Everything else was done by a fellow puppeteer named
Right.
Lisa McNeely. And so the whole movie was done with only 3 people on set. It was me, Lisa, and our amazing Scotty Baker, who was our DP. And just the 3 of us together with the puppets. We did it together, and they're very easy. They don't mess up their lines. Their mouths don't move. That's
Yeah.
another thing. Their mouths don't move. Their faces don't move, but they are just so expressive in the way they like express themselves, and you just it's so cute, like adorable. Yeah, they don't talk back. They don't mess up their lines, and they only need 2 takes to get it right.
Only two. Oh, that's brilliant. Saves time.
Is she not staring at us properly? Let's get her more creepy.
I love
I
it.
feel like I have an army of these like creepy dolls behind me.
I love it. I mean, I was having a bit of fun, but the puppets they didn't have any demands, no writers, nothing they needed in their trailers.
They just the only thing they needed was because we were manipulating them so much, we needed to sew them a little bit.
Sure,
His
the
head almost
seamstress.
fell off from all the puppeteering.
So good. How did you come up with the voice cast? Was it just friends that
Yes.
or colleagues, friends that you just dedicated them to be in the cast, or did you put an audition thing out? Maybe a notice out or something?
luckily I've been in the industry long enough that I'm like a collector of talent. Every time I meet an actor or like a creative person, like I met Scotty doing Scotty, our DP,
Yeah.
our cameraman. I met him doing a podcast for a cartoon. I met Lisa also working on toy commercials, and she's just as weird as I am. And you meet your kind of tribe. You meet your people, and you're like, hey, I'm doing a zombie alien puppet movie. You interested in? And they're gonna say yes. In fact, no one said no.
That's so good.
I was most heartened when the music that we're going to talk about, those artists all gave me their music, just like, hey, I'm doing a zombie alien movie with puppets. May I please have a song for this soundtrack? And they were all like, here you go, take what you want. Here's my catalog, pick. And I got so many amazing artists like Vampires Everywhere, and Balance, who's like this creative artist out of Philly, who I met actually online during COVID. I just saw his song on Instagram, and I was like, hey, and I reached out to him like, hey, I'm doing a crazy movie. Can I have this song? And he's like, go ahead. And everybody just signed it away. They're like, here you go, use it, whatever you want. I also had
Great.
The producer, when he's digging up his ex-girlfriend, that song is from Black Needle Noise, which is a producer of all of Depeche Mode's. Like, they worked like the
what a band.
Yeah, the resume of the soundtrack people are just amazing, I'm so happy. I had Ricky Rebel, I had John Fryer, who is the producer for Depeche Mode, and so many other electronic acts, and Neon Coven that did the song when he, I don't even want to give it away, but there's a magic potion involved.
There is.
Which
there
if
is.
there's a lot of really there's a lot of little, like how Pixar sometimes makes adult jokes.
Yes.
There are adult jokes in there that if I tell you, you will never be able to unsee. Like when he's using the magic potion, it's meant to be a more adult joke, but now you're gonna have to go back and see it. Like, oh, that's what he's doing. Oh my god. Oh, dirty Vera VanGuard and her crazy humor.
Well, I wouldn't call you dirty. It's more authentic, what other people might be thinking at the time as well, and then your mind just going, ballistic. Does that sound about
I
right?
encourage that.
Yeah,
I encourage, but just whatever you think is dirty, I meant it to be that much more dirty, but I want it to still be like kid friendly. Like the adults in the room, if it's playing in the background, wouldn't notice it. But there's a lot of adult humor and no bad language. Also, I try to work clean.
Yeah, I
no
did notice that. Yeah, I've seen it 3 times. Twice.
Oh my god!
I know, right? Twice when it first hit me, I was like, here we go, this is so good, because I was watching you make it through photos and through communication, so I knew it was coming, but then watching the final product after such a long period, I was so happy for you and the success.
Oh, thank you.
They're watching it again recently. I mean, I'm looking forward to my Blu Ray. It still hasn't arrived, but the Blu Ray, I hope people can just pick up as well. And I think the music, which you've already touched on, my segue was going to go into that next anyway. Did you, I mean, you say the bands offered their music, but did they have to see any of the movie? Did you show them any clips or any sort of dailies or anything from the movie before they said yes and agreed?
I think most of them are friends, so they knew that whatever is going to come out of me is going to be weird. And they also knew that whatever I work on will be finished, because a lot of filmmakers talk a lot, and a lot of filmmakers are like, oh, I'm making this, and you never see it the light of day. And they knew that it was going to get out there, and I knew I had distribution for it. So they knew that it was going to benefit them in some sort of way. And they know that I don't make like dirty or like politically charged things. I make things that are enjoyable to all, as long as you're a little weird in the head. So everyone had faith in me and just knew that I wasn't gonna make their music. I wasn't gonna represent them in a bad way. So everyone
Yeah.
just blindly said, "Take whatever you want. We'll sign off on it." And they did. And nobody is yet to say like, "Oh, I can't believe you used that song." They're all like, "Yes, can you use more of my music?"
Well, it needed to be a longer movie almost. Did you have any deleted scenes or footage that you didn't use that we might see a director's cut of one day or something else?
I actually, because since I'm such an indie filmmaker, and I've been making little film shorts and this is my third feature film.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what I wanted, and I knew exactly what I had to film in order to make the story cohesive. Oddly, like the greatest part about them jiggling and just doing movements, like if I was missing a scene, I could just cut to one of them jiggling.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
it was easier because I don't have to lip sync anything. I didn't have to do sound. My sound designer was amazing, Brandon Miller. I gave him literally a silent movie, and I just like silence, all those little sounds he added to it, and like recorded all the voiceover artists, which were all my friends. To answer your question before, yes, they were all my friends. I collected an amazing array of people. The voiceover person who did Tom's voice just knocked it out of the park. Just the most amazing talent ever. And and the rest were all friends. Like the alien was played by a very well-known like indie friend of mine who does so many indie horror movies, Jed Rowan. And I voiced Izzy, and it's so weird because my normal voice is nothing like Izzy's voice. So she is a badass. She's a rock star, a gun, an AK-47 shooting rock star. So and it makes sense why the people that have guns have the guns. Like this is Heathcliff. He's a CIA operative who was about to go postal, so he would shoot guns. This guy is Spencer. He's like a badass thug, but he's also college educated in Harvard, so he uses big language, and he's just a thug because that's the way he's going to pay off his Harvard, student debt. And she's the daughter of those like doomsday preppers, who I don't have the puppet up here, but she's the daughter of a doomsday prepper. So of course she was born with an AK-47 in her hands. It was just like a rattle in one hand and an AK-47 in the other. Like
I love the backstories. The backstories mean so much to me and to anyone who watches it and listening to this now, this conversation, because it enhances things. Not that it really needs to be enhanced, because some things are good when you think about it and they're mysterious, but the backstories are so well thought out and fun.
Thank you. And you could tell when you watch the movie how appropriately they act to their backstory.
You mentioned the sound. I don't know if you remember, but the first time I watched it, I probably emailed you or sent you a message regarding I was just watching it on headphones, how awesome the sound was. I don't know if you remember that. And then you told me about the sound editing and the sound edit. So it's really a testament, because the sound is so good. I implore anyone to turn it up or put some headphones on when you watch it.
Oh yeah, yes. Brandon Miller did an amazing job. And the crazy thing is, this is his first feature film that he did sound for.
Yeah.
His background is like rock and roll engineer. He plays in bands, and he's just this music guy. And I'm like, hey, I believe in you. And he's like, all right, I will do my best. And he did such an amazing job. Like the sound, because it is a silent movie, basically jiggling dolls. That's all it is. So the sound was literally 90% most important. It's just everything.
Yeah. One of many highlights. And you mentioned the distribution. Did that come easily? Was it done in advance? And have you got a deal? Are you doing some more movies for the distributor, or how's that working?
I had the distributor in mind, and I contacted them before. They were supposed to originally distribute my Barbie movie, but I wound up going with another distributor. But I told the first distributor, like, hey, I got some weird stuff in the pipeline. You are going to distribute my next movie if it kills you. And they're like, okay. And it was Dark Side Releasing, and they basically specialize in wild genre movies, so they know who to send it to, and they've been distributing it worldwide. It's coming to the US actually next year, so lucky for me, I get to call it a 2024 release, so it's still fresh and new. So yes, very happy about them. And they just the way distribution works these days, especially with indie, you can't pre-sell, so unless you have big names, and we're just a little group of weirdos. Hopefully we'll make a name for ourselves with the next one.
Well, before we get on to someone you just mentioned, starting with a B, ending in an I, I wanted people who might not know you, you're also a queen of cosplay, very long career in cosplay. The costumes that you wear are so amazing. Like, I just can't take my eyes off some of the details sometimes. Are they yours? Are you making them? Are you borrowing costumes? How does that work for you? Because they can't be cheap, and they just look so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I started cosplaying a very, very long time ago. I don't want to say dates because I don't want to date myself.
No.
But I make some of the things, and then I buy some of the things, and then people make stuff for me to wear. Like, I did this really amazing Callisto from Xena Warrior Princess.
Yeah.
And that was a borrowed costume, but it was literally made, specifically molded off the original costume from the show because he got his hands on it. It was Todd's costumes, and he like meticulously replicated the costume piece by piece. So it was even like the size of that actress. Now I'm much shorter than that actress, but I was like, well, if I don't get stuff myself into this, I am not a real cosplayer. So that was that costume, and others are just custom made for me, or I make a lot of the stuff that I wear. And I wish I had more opportunities to cosplay these days, but it's just the time and energy it takes to go. And yeah, so I'm gonna keep on cosplaying till the very end, but not as much as I used to. But yeah, I would like to go back to Tomb Raider. If I was Queen of Hollywood, I want to do a Tomb Raider series or a Tomb Raider movie. That's my dream.
That's pretty much one of your OG cosplays.
Yeah. That's how I made my bones. I was Lara Croft, and that's how I started with, and I did that for many years, and then it just like went into like I do Samus, and then I did a bunch of anime characters, and just as you know, I love interacting with people at comic book conventions, and you know, now I have these weird movies that I can go and promote. So it's like I could cosplay, and I can wear the costume and go promote my movies. It's like, and honestly, cosplay is what got me into the industry. It's like a full circle.
Yeah.
Because originally I started cosplaying when I wanted to be a stunt person. Like, I started as a stunt girl, and then I was like, well, maybe I should start acting. And the way I met my original people, like the actors and the directors, was from going to comic book conventions, because you know, horror movie directors were there and actors were there, and that's how I started. So cosplay got me into the place that I needed to be to like start making the connections and meet the people. And then I moved to LA. Same thing. I started going to conventions and met people there, and you collect talent, and talent helps talent, and you just network. LA, it really is all about who you know and how to network, and just be out there and just not just talk, create, just create, make things and finish them and release them into the wild. And that's what work gets more work.
Well, everyone's linked.
And don't burn bridges.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's I just see is linked in LA, even in New York. You know, if you're creative, someone knows someone and you can network. Often you can help each other out, and I love that about our industry. It's good.
Yeah, and now it's so easy to create things. I mean, if you're willing to learn, like I've had to learn every bit of filmmaking to make this particular project a reality. My last movie, this one, I assembly edited because I was still learning how to edit professionally. This movie is all me. I edited the whole thing, and I had a little bit of help with color correction and a little bit of help with not a little, the whole sound thing. That's the one thing I need a real pro for that. But you know, I learned how to edit, and I edited this particular movie. And as long as you take the time to learn the skills, you can make anything. The 4K on your camera, on your phone, you can edit on your phone. I mean, I wouldn't edit a whole feature film on your phone, but you can make film shorts, and it's just the things that are capable. I'm very deep into AI and what it can do these days. So you gotta keep your skills going.
One final question about cosplay though, because you've done so many Marvel characters and little short fan films, how do you get around copyright? Or is it, if it's short film, it doesn't matter, or is there sort of limits that you have?
There's no copyright infringement if you're not monetizing it.
Yeah, sure.
It actually works in their favor because you're kind of promoting their own stuff for free. Yeah. Using your own audience. So most of the time they're grateful for it, but as long as you're not monetizing it, nobody really bothers you. Yeah, especially with cosplay, they love that stuff. Yeah, like, yes, I can't wait.
Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say I can't wait for couples to cosplay these two, because it's an easy cosplay.
It's only a matter of time.
Come and see me at a comic book convention. I'll take a picture with you, and I'll be like, oh
my. It's only a matter of time until that happens, for sure.
I hope so.
Now, we first met for a great movie, and the character was Barbi with an I, talking about copyright infringement. Maybe is Barbi around? Can we maybe catch up with Barbi for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I wore my Breaking Barbie hat and my Barbie T-shirt that I made. I made this, by the way.
See, again, just so talented. I've always said that about you. Barbie, what have you been up to? Like, what's happening?
Well, we had kind of like a little resurgence and renaissance thanks to the actual Barbie movie, Barbie with an IE.
Yes.
So it got so many more views, and I'm grateful for that. You know, I think that this Barbie movie, Breaking Barbie, was a little ahead of its time because it came out in like 2018, when influencers were still like a thing that people liked, and now I think the movie is catching more ground because it is a spoof on influencers. Like it's an absolute like shredding of the whole influencer culture. Like, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Like, it's just a spoof on all that, like taking everything you hate about influencers and just compressing it into one character and putting aliens on top of that. So I think now it's a little bit more in stream with how much people are like over the whole influencer culture. Like there's no more like mystique to it. Like, everyone knows that everything is photoshopped, everything is AI, everything is face tuned, and they're all like kind of, I don't want to say everyone is fake, but a large majority of them are like these fake trying to be like something. And I was able to capture it like a little too early, because also the name and the way it's done kind of makes it look like a porno, but it's not. It's not everybody. It's not. No. There isn't even a kiss in it.
No, that's true. That's true.
But it's like so sexy because the whole movie is basically about my butt. So
yeah.
Now you
it's
can
impressive. Your butt and the movie.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, thank you. It's you guys can find it on Tubi and for free on YouTube these days. Like it's been pirated everywhere. I mean, I think now it's people will get the humor of it more now, like because
Yeah,
now it's like the whole influencer thing is sort of going downhill, and you could get the humor of what I was trying to do with like, God, you guys are such ugh.
yeah. You were ahead of the curve, obviously, because that's phenomenal. How popular the new Barbie was, starring my
Yeah.
fellow Australian Margot Robbie, of course.
Yes. Yes.
I
The
love
beautiful
Margot.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah, yeah.
Go Margot.
Thumbs up to her. Director Greta Gerwig. They made a great team. But yeah, there was
Absolutely.
after yours, a couple of years after yours, I think it was about last year or the year before, there was one called Barbie Rehab. And I was sure that they'd seen your movie and kind of not ripped it off, but got the idea to do their web series, Barbie Rehab, from you. I, I don't know.
Oh,
It's just, yeah,
it would be amazing if it was. Like, more power
yeah,
to them.
compliment.
Rip it. I think every bad review on Breaking Barbie is a medal of honor for me.
Yeah,
like
totally.
maybe back then, but now people are starting to like, oh, we get it now. Oh, that's what you were going for.
Yeah,
So I take all those badges of honor because I'm getting so much love for Apocalypse Love.
yeah.
So to come from people hating Breaking Barbie to loving this one, it's
Well,
like, oh.
well, what would Barbie from Breaking Barbie think of the new film Barbie? Do you think she'd relate?
I think she would love Izzy. I think she would love this character. She would be like, she would probably dye her hair black and become goth just to be like her.
Just to do it, and obviously
Even
there's
though she has white hair.
exactly. I think your Barbie, Breaking Barbie, could definitely change up the style, but as soon as she opens her mouth, she's the same Barbie, right?
Exactly, exactly. And that's the humor of it all. Like you may be pretty on the outside, but you're an ugly, shallow thing on the inside.
A couple more before we wrap up. There's full circle too, because the aliens
Yeah.
in Apocalypse Love was like a tribute to Breaking Barbie, right?
Absolutely. They are also my goal right now is to make this movie into a TV series. So you get to see everything we've been writing it. You get to see all the stories of why the aliens are really truly there and how funny the whole thing is, and watch the aliens literally lose control of everything.
I'm
I
trying
don't want
not
to
to
give away
crack
too
up.
much, but
Yeah, I'm trying not to crack up here. That's so funny, and it's like you're taking away my questions because I was wondering about the television series and what's coming up next for these characters because they can't just stop. I really want to
yeah.
know their ongoing adventures. Look at them all; they're all beautiful.
Thank you, and I hope that the TV series gets picked up for next year. Hopefully, please, Queen of Hollywood. Uh,
That's it.
and I really want everyone to see the backstories, like because we're gonna be able to have the opportunity to film all the backstories. Your favorite character, Prepper, he actually has an implant in his butt because he got probed
Wow.
as a kid by these same aliens. So now they need the probe out of his butt. I
Oh boy. Yeah, I'll stand by. That's still my favorite character. Although I love Izzy. Obviously, I'm in love with Izzy. They're all great. Tom's so good.
thank
Would
thank
you?
you.
You're welcome, of course. I know it seems like I'm just praising you, but I do genuinely love this movie. I knew it from almost conception. I've talked to you about it for so long, and to
Yeah,
see it released
you
this
got to
year
be
is
like the
exciting.
grand. You're like the godfather of this movie.
Okay, I'll take that. Thank you. What was I going to say? Oh, finally, with the new adventures of your beautiful puppets, would you maybe take them outside the box into like black? Would you have black and white? Maybe I don't know, a little bit of live action people in there in the background somewhere, or will it just stay puppets, stay the formula that you've got?
I think the formula really, really worked. Like it worked actually better than I expected because just for the audience, nothing is green screened in the movie. There's
No.
zero green screen. It's all practical. The only CGI is like the spaceships and the laser beams and the gunfire. But everything was done practical, no green screens. And I think that's why it makes it kind of organic. Everything is real except the characters. And everything is normal sized except for things that they hold in their little hands. So their world, like Tom is walking around a cemetery and the, like the the monuments are this big and he's like this big. And
Yeah.
and you don't even notice because it just works out so organically. So I think it would be funny to have real people dressed as zombies, maybe in the TV show running around.
Yeah.
But we would make the costumes look like puppets.
Yeah.
So they would look kind of like furries, I guess.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So,
That's what
yeah,
I was wondering what you might have had in your mind. I don't want you to give anything away, but just some different ideas to throw into the mix.
Yeah. I would love to have better editors than myself and better CGI artists than myself, hopefully, for the show. Everything was done by basically me, just finding just grabbing whatever I could to like just make it as cute as possible. But like it would be nice to see like with an actual budget, like what better people than myself can create and help and make this like even more adorable and even weirder and even more like real, I'd like to say. But you'll still see the hands puppeteering them, which I just want to create something new and something fresh.
Any titles in mind? You don't have to tell me, but will it be Apocalypse Love, the series, or part 2,
Yes.
or will it be something
the
else?
series, the series, and the series will retell this original story, but in a whole different way. But it's the same kind of idea, but we've been able to make it so much funnier. Like I'm writing with an incredible co-writer, and we got a showrunner for the show, and his roots are with Married with Children, so it'd be amazing. I cannot wait for you to see it. It's even funnier and weirder and cuter and just I really hope that this series picks up and goes where it needs to go.
I'll have no doubt it will. It'll, and then people who may not have seen the movie will rediscover the movie.
Yes.
I hope that's the plan, right?
Yes.
What about a puppet of Breaking Barbie? Maybe a cameo. Maybe you should ring the puppet maker. Say, hey.
Well, here's the funny thing. Originally, when I am writing the series, I am thinking of having a Barbie puppet stowaway on the alien ship. like the aliens are sitting there and they hear like a knocking on the walls and they're like, what's this? And then all the aliens have normal names like Kevin and Al and Todd, and they're all like, Todd, did you forget to drop someone off? And it's Barbie, and she's like, hey, yeah, I can't get a signal on the spaceship. What's
perfect?
I was. It might happen, it might not, but it would be. There's another idea I had that maybe Barbie is Izzy's older sister. So just like, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I want some kind of link like that. Now you've put the seed into my head. I'm hoping I'll be looking when I watch the series.
There's definitely a world building here where like I always have like aliens. I don't know why, but I always must have aliens, and I must have drug references, even though I've never smoked ever in my life. Like, but I need to write drug scenes into everything.
And I'm going to wrap it up. I promise I've taken up so much of your time, but do you still, now I know that you have a few hidden talents, but you can speak fluent Russian, which is magnificent.
Yes.
It's such a tricky language. But do you still like eavesdrop on people who might be speaking in Russian if you walk past them and listen and see what they're saying?
All the time. I actually, I use my Russian superpowers for good, which is usually when I'm watching with friends a movie that has people speaking Russian,
Perfect.
but they don't subtitle it, I will translate for them. That's my superpower.
I love it. I mean, everyone needs someone like you to do that, because even some of the subtitles are lost in translation.
And by the way, Apocalypse Love is getting translated into Spanish, French, Portuguese, and Chinese.
Oh, that is so good. I mean,
So we'll have the subtitles at least. That's for sure.
well, I'm sure people will be watching this interview all around the world, but unfortunately, you can't get it in Australia yet. You can't watch it in Australia yet, which is quite sad, but it'll happen eventually. I mean, Breaking Barbie is here to stream, so please check it out. But we're working on Apocalypse Love, hopefully.
Yeah, it's still working its way through the networks of trying to get into all the streams. I mean, it's not here in the US yet either, so it's gonna get there.
It will. And to put on the soundtrack of the television show, I mean, we love the soundtrack for the movie, but is there any band, if you could have on a wish list, you'd love to have on the soundtrack of the series?
Absolutely. I actually would love, I'm a big synthwave fan, and I would love to have the band Gunship, just like Carpenter Brute Gunship, just like metal synthwave, like just blasting the whole time.
All right, it's out there. That sounds great. I hope it happens.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, Vera, wrap yourself now. Tell everyone where they can find you. I mean, it's pretty, all you got to do is Google Vera VanGuard, but you know, your social media handles and so forth. Do you want to let everyone know how to find it and to find Apocalypse Love?
Yes, please. On Instagram, I'm Vera VanGuard, and the movie is Apocalypse Love Movie. So it's on Facebook and it's on Instagram. And then I'll probably have it streaming on my website as well for like a really small fee, like $2 or something, very, very soon. In case you're not anywhere in the world where it's streaming for you, it will be on the website, which is apocalypselovemovie.com.
Yeah, great. Well, when that happens, I'll be getting the word out, because yeah, it needs to be seen. It's a lot of fun, and it's short too. It's like an hour.
It's only an hour long. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, really great to see you again, Vera. And from the future, from Sydney, Australia, goodbye for now.
Thank you. Thank you so much.